Alright, now to up the fire rate dramatically and move into the submachine guns. The first one is another already seen before weapon, the TMP. So to quickly gloss over it in game, here it is again. It's OG counterpart from OG RE4. And its real life counterpart, which is the Steyr TMP. All right. Now, I do need to provide emphasis on one of the statistics that does differentiate it from Leon's TMP. It's not power, however, it is the rate of fire. So Ada's TMP is slightly faster than Leon's TMP, but that's all I'm going to emphasize on since rate of fire doesn't affect firepower. All it means is you'll defeat your enemies faster if you just spam them with fire. So let's see it with Ada here. All right, let's see that fire speed. Huh? And here's the comparison to Leon. All right, now let's combine it with the stock. Here we go.
I'm empty.
Chicken tried to get me, but it failed. Now it's gonna get its karma for even trying. Up the ass. Alrighty. Now, I'm reviewing this just like the Red 9, so we're gonna go straight to the merchant and purchase all the upgrades to get your total price, and then test it again. So the TMP is actually available with Ada from the very start of the game. She canonically has the TMP on her person. But the stock, on the other hand, you do have to wait until you come across the very first merchant in Chapter 2 before you can purchase. So the TMP, if you were to sell it, will cost you 10,000 pesetas to rebuy it.
All yours, stranger.
I hate that he doesn't have any special lines. But the TMP stock...
All yours, stranger.
Ouch. Absolutely nothing for the TMP. But combined, that was 25,000 pesetas. Now let's purchase some upgrades and give you your total price.
Try that on for size. We're starting to get an idea of your tastes, friend. There you are. That's about all I... Well, we've given... Don't get yourself killed now.
There you go. Let's go back to the center and shoot it some more. Because I'm not testing the firepower out though, this kind of is a completely redundant test, but because there's a higher capacity, I'll have more fun shooting it. And of course the increased reload speed. Now with the stock, so much more stable.
I'm empty.
No shit. All right, well, that is gonna conclude Ada's usage of the TMP. Now for the next and last machine gun, the Chicago Sweeper with a vertical foregrip. So this is another weapon. While we've seen it before with Leon, there is a very small difference to it when it comes to Ada using it, and that is the vertical foregrip. If you see me switching between the two types of Chicago Sweepers, you can see clear as day the difference. So here it is in game. Now, like I said, visually it's different. However, statistically, it is exactly the same as Leon's Chicago typewriter. So that being said, I'm also not going to test this on an enemy. Now look at the description. Almost word for word the same as Leon's. The only difference is that middle part of the description. So, a large and powerful submachine gun. The drum magazine holds a lot of rounds, which makes it great for concentrated suppressive fire. Okay, so it's super dumb that all they changed was the middle part of the description because it doesn't even match up with the last part of the sentence right there. A pretty stupid description if you ask me, considering. Although, I will take it over the effortless description of the modified Glock 17 of Code Veronica, where they literally just said, modified Glock 17. It's a modified Glock 17. Alright, so here it is compared to its OG RE4 counterpart. And here it is compared to its real-life counterpart. So, this is a different variant altogether than either of the two we've seen with Leon. That's because that foregrip makes all the difference. So, Leon's first model was the Thompson M1A1, while his drum magazine variant was the M1928. This model that Ada has is actually different than either of them. This is the Thompson Model 1921, specifically. And if you didn't notice, there is a small difference in the color tone of the wood between Ada's and Leon's. And the Chicago Sweeper is the other unlockable bonus weapon from Separate Ways. Now, of course, it is unlocked the same exact way as Leon's Chicago Sweeper by getting an A rank in Professional mode. Once you do that, it becomes part of the extra content shop in the Separate Ways section, and it can be purchased for 1,000 challenge points. So, let's test it out. Well, first of all, let's see Ada holding it. Nice, with the foregrip and all. And hey, at least she actually holds it against her shoulder in the remake, rather than hip firing it in the OG. Alright, here we go.
I'm empty.
And of course, it's still a god-awful slow reload. Now let's go to the merchant to get the upgrades. So, if you sell the Chicago Sweeper and then want to repurchase it, it'll cost you a hefty 50,000 pesetas.
Take a look at that drum magazine. You can spray and pray in style with that.
But hey, at least the merchant actually has a unique voice line this time, so that's nice. Alright, now let's tune it up. This is expensive, just like the original Chicago Sweeper.
Try that on for size. Dazzled, are you? Our craftsmanship demands no less.
So, before I purchase the exclusive, I gotta test it out so I could still have the ability to reload. Or I just simply need to show you the reload right here. So improved reload speed, but still overall slow. Alright, now let's purchase the exclusive. Because the exclusive, just like Leon's Chicago Sweeper, is the ammunition never runs out. It becomes truly infinite.
That is a top-notch weapon. Pleasant travels.
Okie dokie. Now let's go back to the center of the hub, and I double checked, the statistics are still exactly the same as Leon's, even with full upgrades. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason to test this on an enemy again. So here we go, testing it with infinite ammo. For some reason, I can't fire it at the corpse of the cop, even though he's already dead. Alrighty, so that's all that's gonna do for Ada's Chicago Sweeper. Good stuff. And that's gonna conclude the submachine guns that Ada can use. Now for the one and only DLC shotgun, Ada's Sawed Off W870. Makes a triumphant return from the OG RE4, of course. And here it is in game, a pump-action shotgun designed for close encounters. Its sawed-off barrel makes it very versatile in combat. Alrighty, now, this is in the OG RE4, so let's compare it to its OG counterpart. There you go. And this, of course, is based off a real-life, sawed-off Remington 870. So the sawed-off W870 is available via the merchant, the very first time you come across him. Right over there. And if you buy it right off from him, it does come at a discount. All right, so here's Ada holding it, looking really nice. Has time to adjust her hair while she's holding it. So let's go ahead and test it out.
I'm empty.
All right, pretty basic. Does fire pretty slow at first, but let's go ahead and test out this shotgun, the one and only one Ada could use, on a brute. And we can compare it a little bit to the shotguns we tested out with Leon in the original review.
Here, catch.
Okay, so it took only 4 shotgun shells to defeat this brute with Ada's shotgun in standard mode. Now, based on the firepower of the shotgun, it's weaker than the riot gun, yet the riot gun in Leon's original test took 5 shots. So I'm wondering if this specific brew is just a little weaker because it is in chapter 2 of Ada's scenario. Unfortunately, there's not really another brew all the way until like chapter 6. So yeah, this is like one of the only ones I could test it on. So yeah, it's a fairly decent shotgun with no upgrades, but let's go ahead and tune it up and see how many shots it takes then. Now, if you don't take advantage of that 20% discount, if you get the sawed-off shotgun immediately from the merchant, it'll cost you 12,000 pesetas to purchase it or repurchase it.
That shorty's very easy to handle. It'll be perfect for you.
Nice, he has a unique voice line for that one. All right, and now let's tune it up and get you your full price.
Dazzled, are you? Our craftsmanship demands no less. We're starting to get an idea of your tastes, friend. Dazzled, you've exhausted... Well, we've given this one all we have to give. Treat it with the respect.
All right, now with its max specs, the exclusive increased the firepower by 1.5 times. So, add 6 points to that, it's got a maximum firepower of 18. This is a powerhouse now. So let's test it out with full upgrades. Alright, unrealistically loading 5 shells at a time. But the firing speed is better, just a little faster than how she originally shot it in the OG RE4. Now let's test it on the brute with that firepower. Alright, kind of expected that. It only took 2 shotgun shells from the sawed-off W870 to defeat the brute, once again in standard mode. So yeah, very powerful shotgun once you fully upgrade it, and I'm starting to think it's possible that it's the widespread being concentrated into a single point that could be contributing to the large amount of damage it seemingly has, even though the statistic of firepower is lower than some other shotguns. Nevertheless, pretty good for the only shotgun Ada could use. Alright, well that is going to conclude the only shotgun, the sawed-off W870. Alright, moving into the rifles, and Ada can only use 2 of them, both of which we have already seen. The first of which is the SR M1903 bolt-action rifle. Alright, so take a quick glance at it. Once again, here's its OG counterpart from Resident Evil 4, and here's its real-life counterpart, the Springfield M1903A4. Alright, now the SR 1903 for Ada is available in Chapter 1, right near the castle gate. And funny enough, the regular scope is available right next to it. As for the high power scope, that's available upon the first merchant in Chapter 2. Now the biosensor scope is located in Chapter 5, next to the water valve. And it's just a quick test with her.
I'm empty.
Alright, and let's check it out with the scopes. First, the regular scope. Now with the high-powered scope. Finally, the biosensor scope. So now, in the same clip, let's go back to the merchant, get the full upgrades, full price, and test it out once more. So if you fail to pick it up in-game, to purchase it or repurchase it will cost you 12,000 pesetas.
All yours, stranger.
No special voice line. And then here are the 3 scopes. I'm not gonna include their prices with the total price of the rifle itself, but when I purchase it, you'll notice the merchant is super lame.
All yours, stranger. All yours, stranger. All yours, stranger.
Not a single voice line carried over from Leon's when it comes to the scopes. Unfortunate. Alright, now let's tune up the SRM 1903.
Care, everyone. This kind of work is about finesse, stranger. A little bit goes a long way. You'll see. There you are, as you wish. Sad to say
And
that.
of course, the exclusive upgrade is doubling the firepower.
At least. Well, we've given this comeback anytime.
Alright, now let's go test it once more. Give myself some more rifle ammo. Alrighty, well that's ultimately gonna conclude the SRM 1903, because I don't have to test it on an enemy, being the same exact weapon as Leon. Now for the other rifle that Ada could use, the Stingray. Alright, another quick look at it, compared to its counterpart in OG RE4, and compared to its real-life counterpart, the Heckler and Koch SL8, once again a hybrid between version 1 and version 4. And the location of the Stingray for Ada is with the merchant once you come upon chapter 5. In the same chapter, you find the biosensor scope. Alright, here's Ada holding it. Alright, and to test it out. And to check it with the scopes. Looking nice. All right. Now let's go fully upgrade it and test it once more. Alright, so to purchase or to repurchase the Stingray, it'll cost you a kinda hefty 20,000 pesetas.
All yours, stranger.
Once again, no special voice line. Now let's tune it up.
Try that on for size. This kind of work is about finesse, stranger. Little bit goes a long way. You'll see. Try that on.
And the exclusive, of course, is exactly the same, doubling the rate of fire. And here's your full price.
It doesn't get any better than that. It's a veritable... Hope to see you again soon, stranger.
Now to test it out with full upgrades. Much faster reload. Alright, there you go. That is gonna conclude the Stingray. Because once again, Leon uses it. It's the same exact rifle. No need to test it on enemies again.
Whose blood are you here for this time?
That all depends on you. Of course, you're free to refuse.
You think that gun's gonna be enough? Okay. I'll do it. But cost you extra.
The new coordinates.
Alright, now for the last never-before-seen weapon exclusive to Ada in separate ways. The Blast Crossbow. So this is like an explosive and miscellaneous weapon hybrid. It's looking really nice, of course. Let's see it like this way. There you go. And to look at it in-game from the inventory, the Blast Crossbow is described as a large crossbow. It shoots special projectiles that explode upon impact. Alright, so this is a remake version of Ada's OG RE4 bowgun, as you see here. And this isn't based off of any real-life weapon. So, we're gonna end it here. Now this is located in Chapter 3, where in Leon's Chapter 2, you would get all of your stuff back. But for Ada, that's where the Blast Crossbow is located, along with explosive arrows to boot. Alrighty then. So check her out holding it. Looking really nice with its camo design. Ha! Really love that special action that she does with it. Alright. So, as you saw with its statistics, it has a flat rate of fire and capacity. Realistically, it can only hold one explosive arrow at a time. But, you gotta admit, that firepower is nothing to joke about, especially to start off with. Alright, so let's test it out. And it comes equipped with a laser sight, so that's nifty. Whew. Now, of course, if you fire it too close, it does explode and blow you back. So you gotta be careful with this thing. It is an explosive weapon after all. All right, so I decided I'm gonna test this on a brute as well. All right, so it only took 4 explosive arrows to defeat the brute. So I just want to reiterate about the shotgun. See, even though the firepower of the crossbow is way higher than the shotgun took the same amount of trigger pulls. So it goes to show you that raw firepower alone is not enough to determine how many shots from a weapon it could take to defeat an enemy. There's a lot of variables involved. Alrighty, so yeah, let's upgrade this baby and see what it's capable of. So if you fail to pick up the Blast Crossbow at the abandoned factory, it'll be available at your next merchant, and it'll cost you 10,000 pesetas. This is also the repurchase cost.
Ooh, that beauty shoots arrows tipped with explosives. You'll get quite the fireworks display.
Nice, and that's probably the last unique voice line we will hear from the merchant. Alright, now let's tune it up. It kind of gets expensive from what I recall.
Mold, we're starting to get an idea of your tastes, friend. There you are.
Although actually, since it only has 2 statistics to upgrade before you reach the exclusive, maybe overall it's not that expensive. Alright, the exclusive increases the explosive range by 1.5 times. So I'm assuming that has to do a bit with the firepower. If it does, that would mean that it's adding 11 to its already 22, making it a total of 33. Or, as it says, explosive range, so maybe it could just mean the blast radius overall, and the power stays the same at 22. Either way, it's gonna be one hell of an explosive dragon beast here.
That is a top-notch weapon. You really don't get yourself killed now.
Alright, now let's test it out in the open and see what it's capable of. So just by merely firing it, we're not really going to see much of a difference. However, check out its new reload speed. Way freaking better. Alrighty then, that's testing out the crossbow with full upgrades. Now let's go and test it on a brute again. Alright, so the amount of explosive arrows was cut in half. To be expected, with the firepower it increased to. Now I do want to conduct an experiment, considering that blast radius was probably increased, so I'm going to test it on a crowd that brute is usually a part of. Get rid of that lone Ganado. Alright, so by mere blast radius, I could take as much as 4 arrows. Alright, I think that's enough demonstrating it. Yeah, this is a pretty cool weapon. Arrows are a little rare to come by, and you're more likely to get an abundance of them if you create them. Which, by the way, is doable through crafting, and there's actually 3 ways to do it. You could either use gunpowder and small resources, or either of the knives and resources. Although, doing it by gunpowder gives you 2 arrows rather than just 1. Alrighty, well that is gonna conclude the blast crossbow, and that is the end, unfortunately, of unique weaponry. And just like that, we are already on the final weapon of this review, the rocket launcher, same exact one we've seen many times in the series, and of course the same one that Leon uses. And of course, just like Leon, there's 2 versions of the rocket launcher. You got the regular one, and you got the infinite one. The infinite one is unlocked once you complete Separate Ways at least once and load a New Game Plus. The regular one, if you buy it, I'm pretty sure it's just like Leon's, where every new area, it will be replenished if you did buy one, or possibly even every new chapter. I don't really know, honestly, because I never bought a rocket launcher with Ada when I did Separate Ways for the first time. But anyway, it'll only cost you 80,000 for the regular rocket launcher.
All yours, stranger.
Lame. Alright, but it'll cost you a whopping $1.5 million for the infinite rocket launcher, which I will have space if I just sort it.
Where you gonna put this? Your pocket? All yours, stranger.
And no special voice line, not even for the infinite. How lame can you get? Alright, so yeah, seen both of these before. Just gonna test fire both of them with Ada real quick. Alright, now let's use the infinite. Look at it go. Whoa! You actually saw it explode eventually. Awesome. Of course, she'll get real hurt if you explode it right nearby. But man, look at the ash crater it created temporarily. Now it just disappeared. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing with Ada as I did with Leon. I'm just gonna show you a slideshow of using it against a variety of enemies that Ada comes across. So enjoy the explosive slideshow.
We go so easily, huh?
Servant of the...
And that's going to conclude the rocket launcher and the infinite rocket launcher. So even though we are done overviewing weapons that Ada can use in separate ways, there are a couple more extra things I want to show. First of all, while she can't use the special rocket launcher, there are some extra cutscenes involving it, as well as through separate ways, some extra angles of seeing Leon using his SG-09. So let me show you those extra cutscenes.
Oh. Deja vu.
Use this!
Leon, why am I not surprised?
Stood with Lord Sattler's grace, and yet
talk too
failed.
Good boy. Just keep him busy a little longer.
And now to give you the total price of all the weapons in separate ways. Here you go. Alright, and one more extra thing I want to show before I conclude this weapon review is something I recently learned about. Apparently, if you own every single weapon in the main game with Leon and fully upgrade every single weapon, whether it's in storage or in your inventory, the merchant has a very special voice line. And this is the final upgrade I'm about to apply out of every weapon in the entire game. Hopefully he says it. Let's find out.
I don't believe it. You went and did them all. I guess everyone needs a hobby. Will that be all then? Come back anytime.
I guess I'm done with you, at least in terms of weapons. Of course, I could always sell treasures and trade with you, but in terms of buying weapons and purchasing upgrades, I am all finished. Alright, so yeah, just needed to show that very special voice line involving weapons and the merchant. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude my DLC weapon review of Resident Evil 4 Remake. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, it would have been a little more convenient if it came out a couple months earlier. That way I would have combined it with a whole overall main games review, but it's not a big deal. Now I got 3 Resident Evil games that have separate weapon reviews for the DLC because it came out after the fact. There will come a time though when I'm near the end of my second remaking era that's gonna start soon. I'm gonna circle back to all those games and they are gonna be one uniform review that will be redone. But that is a long time from now. For now, the next video that will follow up directly after this one will be a melee move showcase of the same DLC. We'll get to see both Ada Wong and Albert Wesker's melee moves in Mercenaries, and I will show all the melee that Ada can do in her separate ways scenario. So look forward to that. Until then, this has been Shankster94, aka the Gamer Shankster. Rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on all social media posted here. Twitter at Shankster_94. Check out my Facebook page and support me on Patreon. Shout out to Ophirgal the Fearless for being my one and only active patron. And shout out to these individuals for being patrons of the past. Check out my Discord server, Shankster's Hub. It's a great place for you guys to directly communicate with me if you're a huge fan of the channel. And also, it's a good place for Resident Evil fans in general. Alrighty, I will see you guys in the melee move showcase of Resident Evil 4 Remake's DLC. Peace out.